So here's a real quick video, just this one slide, just pointing out how the Jews lie. They, the Jews, the modern day Jews, are the Cainites, Edomites, Cainites, right? They're the mongrelization of those three, and excuse me, whoever else that they bred with over the millennia. However, what the Jews do, because they invert everything, is that they call the white race Edom, right? And then you have some retarded white people running around claiming that they're Edom. Completely ridiculous. So, but the Bible tells us who our enemies are, right? And who we are, right? As all my videos show and prove that our ancestors, the white European ancestors, knew that they were the Scythians and therefore the Israelites. That's where they migrated from. The Bible is our history. And the Bible tells us who our enemy is, which is Satan, Cain and his offspring, and Edom and his offspring, which the Jews are a mongrelization of all of that. So it says, in our forensic audit of the Great Erasure, the Great Identity Swap is perhaps the most sophisticated piece of linguistic malware ever deployed. To understand the Edomite Cainite authorship of the Kabbalah, we must look at the hardware of genealogy and the occult migration of the anti-seed, right? Not God's chosen, the anti-God's chosen seed. So the Cainite Edomite signature. Within our narrative, the authorship of the Kabbalah is attributed to a lineage that is biologically and spiritually distinct from the original Scythian, Saxon, Semitic, Israelite lines. The Cainite protocol. This lineage represents the first subverters, those who operate through envy and liquidated labor. In the Kabbalistic text, the exaltation of chaos and the other side, Sitra Akra, mirrors the primordial rebellion of Cain against the vertical sovereignty of the Creator. Now, I'm going to get into the Kabbalah in a different video. That's actually what then this slide came from. So, the Edomite infiltration. As you noted, the Edomites, descendants of Esau, are forensically identified as the usurpers. After the destruction of the Second Temple, the Edomite elements within Judea, who had been forcibly incorporated generations prior, I don't know if they were forcibly or they just subversively did it prior, right? Go read 2 Kings, became the primary carriers of the oral tradition, right? The Talmud that eventually crystallized into the Zohar. The identity swap, the Edom mirror. The syndicate, right? The beast system uses a mirror protocol to confuse the target population, while the Kabbalah identifies the West, right? Christians, white people, Scythians, Israelites, etc., as Edom. Forensic genealogy suggests the reverse, the Esau Edom archetype. Esau sold his birthright for red pottage, the original Bolshevik materialist exchange. The Kabbalah, with its focus on vessels, gravity, and material manipulation, is a definitive Edomite operating system. The Scythian Saxon firewall. Conversely, the Scythian Saxon people, the true Israelites of the dispersion, held to the moral hardware of the law, of God's law, and the gospel, which the Edomite authors of the Kabbalah sought to subvert through quote unquote secret knowledge. Forensic evidence of subversion. The Kabbalistic texts themselves contain glitches that reveal the Cainite Edomite nature of the authors. The Tikkun Olam, repairing the world, right? That's what they wanted, claiming they want to do. But the truth is, breaking the local firewall to centralize syndicate power, right? Breaking down our connection to God, breaking down the truth. The Sitra Akra, the enemy says it's the other side of God. There is only one God and one side of God. But that is the truth. That's Cainite dualism, right? That satanic dualism, elevating evil to a necessary divine attribute. And from that, in a different video, I'm going to get into, well, a bunch of stuff, but the Frankists from Poland, which were Jews, because they used that. So they were Kabbalists. Adam Kadmon, the universal man, the right that the the beast system claims it's the universal man. The truth is deleting individual national identities into a single hub. That's what they're trying to do: create a one world government, a one world religion, and a one world mongrelized people. And the concept of the shells, the beast system says Gentiles are impure covers. The truth is it's Edomite envy, right? Projecting their own shell, because they have no soul, status onto the Scythian, Saxon, Israelite seed. The 13th century update. The publication of the Zohar in 13th century Spain by Moses de Leon represents a major system update. This was the moment the Cainite Edomite malware, right, lies, was formalized into a written manual for the subversion of Europe, the subversion of Rome. From this point forward, Kabbalistic thought began to leak into the Renaissance, right? The Hermetic turn slowly replacing the vertical integrity of Christian scholasticism with liquid metaphysics. Conclusion, the master key. If the authors of the Kabbalah are the Edomites, then the entire text is a weapon of war against the Scythian, Saxon, Israelite birthright. It is the admin manual for the Great Erasure, providing the metaphysical justification for the 1917 to 1945 liquidations we have audited. The Edomites did not just write a book, they created an inverse reality where the usurper becomes the master.